All right, so welcome to the Much to Do About Everything podcast. This is Zaire Ziggy Holy Wave, and on Instagram. Um, what have you been up to, Johnny?
Man, this is Johnny Hines underscore two shoes underscore on Instagram. I ain't really been doing too much of nothing. I had a couple training sessions this morning, and I went to get my hair cut. So I'm a little fresh today, so I'm feeling real empowered. Shout out to my dude Josh Allen, Cornbread Carter on Instagram. Go follow him if you want to get a fresh cut in the East Bay. And then we have a special guest today on with us today. She's our producer of the show, but she's going to be on a mic. We're going to be talking about a couple of different perspectives, and we want her to chime in on. So we have Tia with us today. Tia, give him a little shout out real quick.
Hello, everyone. I am Tia. I'm the producer on this show. Just trying to make this train ride smooth.
Where can we find you? What is your Instagram handle? You got anything?
Yeah, y'all can follow me at Love Ciola Mendoza on Instagram.
Cool.
That's it. I ain't got nothing else, y'all.
It's good.
Also, for everyone listening to the show, please follow our Instagram page. We will be putting up audio very soon and short clips. It's Much2Do podcast it's Much2Do podcast on Instagram. So at Much MUCH, the number 2DO podcast. You guys should see that on there. Follow us. Please be sure to follow us and comment and give us your, basically your reviews and critiques of our episodes. Anything helps.
Any ideas, any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. And we'll obviously do our best to get back and interact with anyone and everyone.
Right. So, we're going to get right into it. We have our current events, which we call What's New in the Streets. And our first topic of the day is Nick Cannon.
Right.
Nick Cannon and his comments that caused him to lose his job. So we just want to talk about that and get anyone's perspective, or we'll give our perspective on it. Then obviously you guys can comment on the page later about it. So Z, what was your perspective and your thought process and when you heard the news and what he said and what he said was wrong, and why do you think he was fired?
So basically, this idea of people using anti-Semitism to get people out of jobs, to get people out of what their careers are, isn't new. I think for me, it is a bit different seeing it happen to a black man. I think the fact that he was fired so quickly is also reflective of that as well. I feel like if it were a white man who had made similar comments, I know a white man isn't going to say that people were savages, etc.
Right.
But when it comes down to somebody and they feel as though they're speaking the truth about how they feel like the world is set up or how just the world is, I understand that it can be hurtful to another community. I don't think that it was enough to warrant him being fired. I don't think that it was anything that was directly out of spite or out of
It wasn't with malicious intent.
Yeah, I don't believe it was malicious. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
And I just think it was more. I think there's conversations that need to be had between blacks and the Jewish community
100%.
about
Yep.
just the subject matter of what Nick Cannon was talking about, especially with because there's a big population of blacks who believe. It's not crazy to find a black person who believes that black people are original Israelites, etc.
Right.
And it's not. I don't think it's something that should be taken offensively by Jewish people in that sense. I think you have to be in a place of understanding where black people are coming from, especially in America, having dealt with everything that blacks have dealt with. And go ahead.
It's almost the same as when there's people that genuinely believe that Egyptians are of European descent.
Right.
Like that's very offensive to African people. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? But they say it nonetheless. They they do like reports and stuff like that, and it's just like with not really a lot of anything to really support their claim. You
Your
get what I'm
theory,
saying?
yeah.
But they say it nonetheless, and they don't. There's no uproar
Factual
or
backing, yeah.
you get what I'm saying? There's no uproar, no one getting no retaliation or anything like that. It's just an opinion. Because honestly, at the end of the day,
Partially because of how we've already been conditioned to think about things in history.
right?
Elizabeth Taylor was Cleopatra. So a lot of people have this idea that Egyptians it's just this kind
Well,
of
yeah, because of the
blanket
right.
stereotypical thinking.
Because
you know what I mean?
the community of the Egyptians, they a lot of people just do not want to accept that those people were melanated people. You know what I'm saying? They're like they couldn't have been. They had to be of some type of European descent.
Well, it's been that way in a lot of facets in our life. If you see certain people can play certain roles, we're not supposed to be uproared, such as Brad Pitt playing the Mexican, or Tom Cruise
The Last
playing the Last Samurai. But then soon as Michael B. Jordan played he played the
Flame.
fire or the flame on
The Human
Fantastic Four.
There was outrage.
People lost their damn mind, or
Or
you found
Annie.
out that they're getting ready to put I forgot who they casted for the new Ariel for the Mermaid movie.
Oh yeah.
They're
The
losing their
young
mind
lady,
about
Hallie
yeah.
from was
From
it
the-
Hallie or Chloe?
Hallie or Chloe, from one of them beautiful
yeah.
little girls. They got them playing Ariel, and that was a problem. Or even one last example, when they did the remake of Annie, and they
Yeah,
casted Annie as a young black girl, and there was just outrage.
mind you, there's Annies all over the world, and that play and look or are different colors and different nationalities.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be to that standard of what things should be. So there definitely needs to be some variation. But I do believe in some ways, if certain things are like, if there's a role and we're talking about a historic African queen, you shouldn't try to put Scarlett Johansson as the African queen. That's just disrespect.
It's just
It's
wouldn't make
just
sense.
certain mindfulness that we have to have, like also with our comments.
But you think that's related? You think that's comparative to someone, I guess, a black person claiming that they were an original Israelite? Because maybe the idea is, why can't blacks be Israelites?
Well, I just think because a lot of people who are in uproar, first off, they're in position of power. So then when they're getting offended, they can pull the trigger of a sense of fire, and they can in that way. Also, there's a lot of people who don't have the true history of what actually is. There's a lot of stuff in our history books that we all went to school for that most people don't know because it's only one-sided. So in our history books, it's not everyone's history. So that's why when we actually have to learn our own history, and then we find out this history, and then we spill it out to people who've been reading our history books, it sounds like all lies and rhetoric,
right,
but it's not
his
the case.
story.
Yes,
It's not
because they don't know the
Our
true
story.
our story. It's
Right.
his story. Yeah.
So
and everything.
that's a balance, though, because even with that, with us reading a lot of this, narrow-minded and one-sided history in our history books, and then we actually find out more information, then we try to overpower with our new information or our, I guess, their unfounded history of what they don't know, and we try to tell them that. It all sounds like lies or things we're making up.
Right.
When realistically, we're giving you side two
right.
of the history.
Right.
And most kids, especially that are non-black, that are black, also don't know that history.
Yeah. And
That's true.
That's all. Yeah, true. And there's, I mean, that's that. I mean, we can go on and on about just basically all of it is all a system or it's all basically made that way so people don't know who they come from or what they really are. So
100%.
then they feel like they
So,
are
I
nothing.
mean, so is there-
it makes
is-
them feel inferior.
Is there an understanding of why someone Jewish could maybe hear Nick Cannon's words and be offended?
I mean, here's the thing.
100%. I think there's always, because it's subjective.
Right.
So I think that anybody can hear anything and feel some disrespect or some offense, because just as you being Jewish and having that much pride in your people and hearing something that is maybe you don't know about or you're not familiar with, it can sound very offensive
Threatening.
and
It could
disrespectful.
sound,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like naturally you can feel that way. It's like if I don't know and then you say something I'm unfamiliar with, then it's just like, hold on, you taking shots at us? Like what you talking about? Like,
Right.
why are you even bringing us up as an example?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but like I said, in a lot of American history, most, I can't say most, but in higher ups, a lot of Jewish people in this country, they own a lot of things.
Yeah.
They hold a lot of power in our country and different corporations. So, and I think that's was the biggest factor for me because he was able to say some comments about some Jewish people and get fired as soon as he got
As
off the
soon as
air,
it came out,
basically.
yeah.
Right.
And I wouldn't even say got off air because it was pre-recorded. It ain't like he recorded yesterday, then they fired him. Like it was recorded before, then they got a hold of the tape, and then they heard it, and they had a conversation with him, and then basically in that conversation, instead of giving him a warning, they fired him. So I think yes, Jewish people listening to that definitely could have took some offense, and they had the right to take offense, but that's only because they don't know. So they need to do a little bit more research, like all of us in all situations.
And that's why I believe there's a much bigger conversation to be had
Right.
because I think that, just like you said, like there's history the way that of what they want most people to know,
Right.
and then there's the history in which stories that have been thrown out, stories that have been, I guess, willfully they want people to forget or
Right.
to do
Right.
away with, and so. Yeah, I think it's just a conversation that needs to be had, and I think furthermore it's just about how we educate ourselves about each other. I think that's pretty much the only way that you can come out of this. We definitely know what we definitely saw on display the power of the Jewish community.
Right. Right.
And we continue to see it. Anyone that says anything about Israel or related to Jewish people tend to get reprimanded in some way, form, or fashion.
Right.
So,
And also speaking about power, we're gonna get into our next topic. Most of you guys might have heard about it, might have seen the table talk, may have
Unless
seen
you were
the
living under a
interviews.
rock.
We're going to go right into one of the bigger topics of last week with the power couple, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, talking in regards to August Alsina and their so-called entanglement. So for most people that don't know, there was recently an interview with August Alsina shedding light on his relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith. At one point, I believe in his life, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith had took August Alsina in to basically mentor him and help him with some healing as a young man. And I guess during that time of him healing, Jada Pinkett herself was going through some healing herself, and she decided to help August Alsina heal. They decided to heal together. And I guess ultimately there was a romance that came out of the situation. It is a very, I guess, popular story right now because Jada Pinkett Smith at the time, there's a 21-year-old difference between Jada Pinkett Smith and August Alsina. And obviously he was not a minor when they took him in. It ain't like they adopted him. He was just coming to them for guidance. But because of the situation, Will and Jada, I guess, both decided to help him with his process, and somehow there was a situation that came out of where Jada Pinkett Smith and August Alsina ended up being physically intimate during a agreed upon break between Will and Jada. They were separate at the time. But it just made it weird, or the situation just seemed a little bit out of place because you were supposed to be helping a young man with his healing process, but instead you end up engaging in physical intimacies and emotional entanglement with a young man who was already trying to figure out himself. But I guess to Jada Pinkett Smith's credit, she said she was also healing from some things. So I guess you can say that they were both trying to find themselves within each other, and that's where the entanglement came about. But I'll just pass it over to Zaire, and he'll give his perspective, and then we'll hear from the woman's perspective in Tia.
Okay.
Z, what you think about it, man?
I feel I don't feel like how I feel about it. Too many people feel differently. I feel like it was a situation in which, obviously, yeah, they were trying to help. I think sometimes you get involved a little too much in someone else's situations
Mm-hmm.
in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, it culminates into you, a married woman, having to at some point in that relationship, and I guess it seems like he was hurt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like to be honest, I feel like August should have kept his mouth shut. I don't feel like August should have came out talking like that.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's a good look on his behalf, especially because there was an album announced, and then now
Yeah.
now there's a song out with Rick Ross.
Scandal sales, man.
Yeah, you know what I
Scandal
mean. And
sales.
so it looks a little nasty.
It looks
on his
sketchy
part,
on his part.
and it
If
looks it looks a little
opportunity,
opportunistic.
yeah.
However, you could kind of also say the same thing about Jada in the original situation. She was definitely opportunistic.
I don't, I don't personally feel like for her it was an opportunistic thing because like I said, it's a lot of women out in the it was a lot of women out in the world who looked up to Jada in a lot of different ways, and before this situation came about, and like I said, don't get it wrong, we've all heard about their interesting agreements between Jada Smith and Will Smith, being that they have open marriages or whatever the case may be. So it's not the first time we've heard their marriage is just like the traditional sense of, till death do us part, rocking with each other every single day. But I would think that it was definitely more on August's benefit and behalf because he was like tucked off already. He wasn't even making music at the point.
Right.
Nobody heard from him. Then all of a sudden you came out with this, this very juicy story and like kind of spilling dirty laundry.
Yeah.
And if you're saying you got so much love for her, then I really don't see the benefit of you doing that. You can get it out, you can vent, but why does it have to be in a interview? Why
Yeah.
couldn't it be in a sense of you talking about that with a therapist? Like that's what they get paid for. So I really didn't understand, his thought process and
Right. And
so-
I just looked at it and it didn't necessarily seem genuine to me just from that standpoint of him trying to capitalize. He does seem like somebody who who is hurt. Like it for me it just looked like the cougar. She put it on the young dude. You know what I'm saying? And then
and for the
she put
record,
it on. Let me finish real quick, just for a second.
Okay.
She put it on the young dude, and he didn't know how to handle that. He wanted more, etc. And a married woman, is like, I mean, I'm still married. I still have my husband, and I just don't think he was able to take the fact that she would never be his fully.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say to add to that. I'm like, I mean, I finally got to it and saw the video, and in the red table they basically said that, like, this was something that was, I mean, apparently had happened a few years ago. Like her and Jada and August Alsina haven't even been in contact for some years, so she was kind of baffled that he would now talk about it, and then that's why it seems so strategic that he would now say, now that he has a album coming out, and yeah, and then I mean, I see a lot of women out here being, like, or people Team Jada or Team Will, and they're, this was so wrong. She was so wrong. She took advantage of him. But as you pointed out, Johnny, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I agree, honestly, that she was taking advantage of him. Do I feel like there was some type of deception, although her and Will had already had a agreement of being separate and going to see other people, or they're going to see other people. Yeah, that was cool. However, it's how her and August became anything. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Initially, you guys were supposed to be helping him. This was a family effort. You know what I'm saying? So I can see where Will may have been, blindsided by, oh, now you guys are cultivating a whole relationship. Like, wait, when did this happen? So yeah, that was a bit deceptive. You know what I'm saying? So
what about the Instagram post that he did like last year?
Well, yeah.
Something?
I mean that.
It was like a love poem.
Yeah, on her birthday.
Love her. Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane.
So how long ago was this really?
You know what? Well, it wasn't last year. It had to have been the year before last. 2 years ago. Yeah, definitely. Because I vividly remember that and just being like, oh yeah. She gave him some of that cookie, okay? Period. That cookie was fortune to my cookie and all something to my rookie, and this nigga was rhyming. It was a lot.
The Harlem Nights, boy. I'm not tell your mom I'm not coming home.
Basically, this woman is sunshine, okay? Period. Man. But anyways, yeah. So either way, rather they were. It happened, or they haven't been in contact for a couple of years or a year or whatever.
You're just saying you don't agree with the situation because if she would have met August Alsina on a different circumstance, like at a concert, and they were.
Well, it's not that I don't agree with the situation. No, I do see where because there's a lot of men. I mean, or just people. I don't want to say men, but there's people who view it like, oh, she just did, Will so wrong, and I don't know if it's just so cut and dry like that. Like, no, I don't think she did him wrong per se. I feel like shit happened, and the fact that she started dealing with this person whom it wasn't like she just met him at a concert or at a show, and now we're seeing each other, where, you know what I'm saying, that would have been different. It was all under a different impression. So even Will wasn't looking at him as a threat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now, you know what I'm saying? But now it's a threat, and even down to them having a relationship, because even watching the table talk, he seems a bit hurt. Like, I mean, rightfully so to a certain degree. Like he seems over it, but it's still like talking about it. Still,
it doesn't necessarily seem like it was agreed upon. It like that aspect of their relationship doesn't necessarily seem like that situation was something that they agreed. And it seems like he clearly expressed that.
What that wasn't agreed upon of what?
The August Alsina situation. That was his whole thing.
You said Jada Pinkett Smith said that August lied, saying that he got permission from Will. He didn't get permission.
Well, she said that he didn't lie. She said he misspoke. What he was trying to communicate. This is almost a direct quote. She said, what I think he was trying to communicate was that. Because he's not lying to a certain degree, because he might have felt that way because of how cool her and Will were. He didn't want to be a homewrecker, basically.
I don't understand how you can decipher
him
that.
Saying that he had Will's blessing.
And he thought him saying that. It might have been. It might not have been a verbal, actual, hey, you have my blessings. But the fact that he wasn't rah-rahing and he knew that we were together.
Though. Like if he came in there, like you said, to help you out as a couple at the point, as a family, we're coming in to help you. Why would I give you permission to sleep with my wife?
Yeah, well, no, that definitely didn't sound right. That's why I think she wanted to clear it.
In that way.
But I think that's why she felt the need to clear it up. Like, nah, it wasn't like we were all sitting at the dinner table and he was like, hey, August, if I know you and Jada got what you're going on. Do it. Yeah.
You're good to go.
You're good to go. No, definitely wasn't that. But I think the fact that sometimes there are, sometimes people, like I said, there's sometimes you don't have to say something without saying something, just because you do something, there's not a response, he may have felt, oh, well, he got my blessings. I mean, he saw me, he came in the room and we were in the bed and I had my arm around her and he didn't say anything. He thinks, oh, that's my blessings. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? This is all speculation.
Like I said,
who knows?
We definitely don't know the guidelines of their separation.
One question though, because you're saying like, okay, like you shouldn't really put too much on Jada, etc. Yada yada. You don't look at it like she just fully took advantage of him.
Yeah.
Okay, like perception is more so what I'm getting at. If the shoe was on the other foot, if this is Will with a woman who's 20 years younger than him, having mental issues, and the family takes them in, and all of a sudden, well, not even all of a sudden, but we see them at premieres together, red carpet events, situations, whatever. She later then
Concerts.
puts out an Instagram post on Will's birthday about how amazing he is just as a person, and it looks romantic. And then she comes out later saying, "Yeah, this is what happened. We were in a relationship,
An entanglement.
and then, well, that's what."
I'm kidding.
Will-
I'm
that's
being.
what
I'm.
Will
I'm being.
said,
I'm
right?
jazzing.
That terminology
I'm jazzing.
that terminology she used was genius.
Yeah,
I
she
think,
changed the
dog.
game for
The
that.
question is,
She better had coined
how
that.
would it look?
Right,
Would you look-
entanglement.
The question is, would you look at that situation the same if it were Will and that was the situation?
Okay, I can see where it may be taken different.
Bro, he was getting dragged.
I mean, no,
Crazy.
definitely.
What?
I mean, just because of society,
Grooming,
societal.
predatorial. Like,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on,
no,
man.
definitely. They would have definitely been saying all of those things. Oh, he was
And like
being
I-
predatorial
and not to
towards
say,
her,
like,
and
some people are saying that about Jada.
she, even though she was a grown person, but it would have been still that.
Way more. It would have been way more
There's
negative.
a lot more
energy
outpouring
towards
of
men.
Men,
It's always that
because
way, though.
because men are looked at more as predators than women. You know what I'm saying? Although it's not the case.
Statistically, men are more
Well, it's
predatory.
It's obviously been showing that in the last couple of trials with all these rich men.
I mean, yeah. So
Doing what they've been doing.
So with that being said, yeah, it would, but I mean, it doesn't make it right. But
Not
it's
at all.
kind of the society that we live in. You know what
that's
I'm
very
saying?
unfortunate.
And we have a lot of double standards that
Yeah,
just
we-
aren't fair.
Do we?
You know what I'm saying? And we as a society should try to denounce those and change those, because it just isn't fair. People should be able to do what they want to do. Like, for example, like women, we talked about how, you know, men are able to be as promiscuous as they want to be.
Right.
And everything is, oh man, he got women, and you know, he's applauded, versus if a woman is
Not sexually active as that.
yeah,
She's a
it's
hoe,
actually,
she's
yeah,
just
she's
whatever.
basically demonized for her promiscuity, and it's just not cool. It's just not cool. It's just really unfortunate. But they're both adults, you know, they should be able to do what they want to
100%,
do.
I agree.
So at
You
the
know,
end of the
same.
day, it is what it is.
It's kind of it is until we can change it all, because the whole thing is everybody's like, oh well, they want to denounce this one double standard, but they don't want to denounce this other double standard. Same thing with women being more available. I mean, more freer to be more sexually free and or experimental, and you know what I'm saying, and they don't get any, oh, they're gay or this or that. She's just living her life. Whatever she decides she wants to date a woman today and then date a man, that's just her business. If a guy kisses a guy, oh, he's gay. There's no questions
there's no
about
coming
it.
back
Especially in the black community now. It's different for like white guys, because like, I don't know, no offense to the white guys out there, you guys are great, but you guys do get, I think, more of a free pass, because you guys do little gay shit all the time, like, you know, questionable shit, and no one really says anything, because it's like it's white humor, right?
Yeah,
and
I
so
would
it's
say,
it's
yeah, I
definitely
would say,
accepted.
And that's and we're in. Once again, we're not on here being prejudiced or
no.
bashing anybody. We're speaking strictly off of experiences. Being me and Zaire grew up in sports our whole lives, and we can speak to these experiences. Especially me in
Absolutely.
college, being as young, grown adults.
Locker
I definitely
rooms.
encountered some interesting situations. I'm not going to put nobody on blast on here, but let's just say.
I see you, Ron.
that
No.
it's, let's just say it's definitely been some questionable antics going on behalf of the Caucasian community. Once again, we're gonna move on. If you have not seen the Nick Cannon video and you haven't read the news, do your own research, please. We're not gonna say we're not a credible source. 'Cause we're going off of what's out there in the world, was provided to us, and then we're using our own opinions and talk about it. Also, if you have not heard about the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett situation,
'Cause you've
also
been in Nam.
look it up, find the video. Also, if this isn't for you, because we're not a gossip column, this isn't a gossip situation. This is basically what's new in the streets. These are just current events that's going on in the world as we speak. And also, getting into some more news on a positive note, we're going to talk about Nicki Minaj becoming a new mother. Congratulations to her and her husband on bringing a child into this world. She is still pregnant. She has not had the child yet, but congratulations to her. We know for a lot of her career, she has always been wanting to be a wife and a mother. So congratulations to Nicki Minaj.
Yes, congratulations to her. Moving along. Up next, we're talking about Mr. West.
Yeah, we have.
All right, cool. Up next, we're talking about Mr. West, Kanye West, that is.
So what happened?
So if everyone, as everyone should be under, should know.
Just what happened. What did he do?
Well, what did he do? I mean, I'm gonna tell you what he did. He basically, he's running for president, and at one of his rallies, and I'm not even gonna say one of those Carolinas. He basically,
South Carolina.
Yeah. Irrelevant currently about where it was, because that's not where I'm going with this. But anyhow, he basically is running for president, and he had a rally, and he was as one of he was taking a few questions from the crowds, and there was a young white woman who basically had some questions that differed from his own, and he basically met her with understanding, and told her, he thanks her for speaking her truth, and he actually offered her a hug. Following 10 minutes later, he takes another question from a black woman, and she too had thoughts and ideas that differed from his, and was met with complete rage. He was going off on her. He was just talking crazy to her, and it just blew my mind.
You seeing that? How did that?
As a black woman, living in America is just, I know there's racism everywhere. There is. But the white race, the American racism is just a whole different level. And I think we just have something in an internal issue inside the black community. I just see that it seems to me that black men tend to have way more of a tolerance level for non-black women than they do for actual black women, and I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do that to that white woman. She had the same energy, you know what I'm saying? And it was just not, okay, it's cool, whatever, and it's unfortunate. So I have a question for y'all, you guys being black men. Why do you think that is? Why do you feel that, do you think that this is true of black men having a higher tolerance for non-black women, and why is that?
I wouldn't say, first off, I don't have a exact answer for that question. I wouldn't say that, this is why. This is the exact reason.
Well, do you
why.
think that it is an issue?
I know it's an issue.
Okay.
We've encountered some different situations outside of that. I experienced some different situations personally, where I observed some situations, and I was a little interested in why he handled that with that, but didn't do that with that. So I definitely believe that it's a thing. I believe it's definitely black men do sometimes have less patience with black women than they do with non-black women. Also, we talked about a little bit yesterday, that I believe that certain situations can stem from past traumas. So if a black man is raised with a bad relationship with his mother, and him being a person that all he ultimately wanted was love from her, and all he was met with was abandonment and disgust and just anger and resentment, then naturally when he grows up, he'll have a certain energy or a certain behavior towards black women. Maybe because maybe he's not seeing that black woman as just that black woman. He's seeing that black woman as his mom or his grandma or his aunt. Somebody that wronged him in the past that was an African woman. Maybe he might have some like past aggressions towards those people, and he always put those any black woman in those shoes. So I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that we're dealing with so much mental health and so much trauma in our households that we don't actually have a healthy outlet to get it out. And some of us are carrying that around with us every single day, and it shows up in different parts of our lives, I believe. So I would say that I can't speak to why Mr. West was different with the white woman compared to the black woman. I can just say that that would be one way or logic I would look into, that some black men had different encounters with black women and that they carry that still negative experience with them. It's the same thing with if a white woman is robbed by a black man, she's going to automatically, not all the time, sorry, not all white women believe this, but she's going to have a little different feel towards black men. Like when she gets in the elevator, if she was robbed or she was attacked by a black man, she's going to always feel some type of way when she gets around black men until she breaks that stigma or she breaks that that trigger that helps her get over that. Because some people have to go to therapy, and in our culture, our therapy is talking it out at a kitchen table or listening to some music to escape. Whatever the case may be, it's not necessarily
or just saying it'll be alright.
Yeah, we'll just get over it.
Get over it,
right?
But necessarily, it doesn't pass. You have to do something to release that from you. And a lot of blacks, speaking for myself, we don't do that because we don't go to therapy and because we don't feel like it would help.
The whole stigma with therapy and mental health in the black community, I feel like the younger generation is paving a way of making it normal, and like you should go. If you have traumas, you should definitely go seek help and stuff like that. Like people like Charlamagne the God or Amanda Seals are normalizing it. And I think that's such a beautiful situation. But it is absolutely an issue that definitely needs to be addressed. Needs to be corrected. Absolutely be corrected. And even too, I hear all of that, because traumas are real and everything like that. But my problem is, I don't know, is that really the case? I mean, are they holding that same? I'm pretty sure we living in America because, black people, we're in, you're going to interact or come in contact with some type of white person, and every white person, just like every black person, but they're not always going to be that friendly, and you might have a negative experience, but are you still holding that same energy from that negative experience you had with that white person? Because I'm more than likely sure that you probably had some type of negative experience, but instead of, holding that same, aggression, rather be white, anything, Asian, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
That's absolutely true.
It's not, I don't feel like it's given the same energy. I think it's given this, just like how Kanye in this example, if that's a negative experience, you get what I'm saying, to him, because he feels like, someone is differing from how I look at something, and that's not cool.
Take it a step further, right? And this idea, especially that something that we hear that I've heard personally just from black women, is that black men have put non-black women on pedestals, and we seem to diminish the value of how we look at black women in favor of how we look at
non-black women
who are not black. And I think that has a big thing to do with it. I don't know exactly why that is. I mean, other than, I don't know, systemic racism or just the residual effects of black people having to battle self-hate. Like, I think in growing up in America, one of the first things you learn as a black person is to not like anything about yourself. It's to embrace everything that
to aspire to whiteness of some sort.
Like just for me growing up in the 90s, all of the things that I've learned and that I've learned to love myself with, being pro-black, came from my parents. It didn't come from what I was watching on TV or what I was
Right.
hearing on the radio.
Right.
And I think that's a big reason because that also becomes another obstacle that you have to battle through in order to love yourself and in order to claim your identity as a black person in this society. And as far as being a true self, I think a lot of black people, we walk around, and it's just like what Johnny said. We have a lot of these mental things about ourselves that we could fix with therapy, and we're just not mentally taking care of ourselves in that aspect. And I think these are just the residual effects of that. And unfortunately, when something's not right about you, you tend to hurt yourself. And I think that in terms of black men and in respect to black women, and even vice versa, the damage that we do based on our mental states and just where we are in society, we tend to feel the brunt of it with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree upon that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also, just to play off of that. I also always felt like, why, if we want companionship with women and women with men, why do we do so many things to hurt each other? Why do we do so many things? Why are we such in competition with each other when ultimately we're doing all this work to find a companion or a partner that will see things the way we see them, and so we can build with? But yet there's constantly, and even in music, there's constantly everything to put down. A man putting down a woman, how bitches ain't shit,
Right.
or niggas ain't shit, or whatever the case may be. It's always something towards putting the other person down rather than uplifting them. So I think that's a big issue with what's going on, because we're always in so much comparison and competition with each other instead of loving each other where we are.
Right. And I was having a discussion with a friend the other day, sort of about this, and he said something interesting. He said, well, if you really, from his perspective, he said, it's really about ego. And like, if you look just in general, in terms of like black men dating black women, etc.,
Right.
there's only so much you can get away with dealing with a black woman, because in typical fashion, a black woman is going to hold you accountable. Like, it's that simple.
Right.
And if you have an ego, you're not going to be where you have to be checked all the time, to where you have to be corrected. You're going to go where your ego can pretty much roam free. And I feel like men use that, especially black men with egos. That's what he was saying. Like, use that, and they find, I guess, that space within other women.
To say that that's why they don't mess with a black woman, because she's more
To say that that's
loud.
why, to say that that's why their patience is different.
His patients are different. Okay.
Okay. I mean,
That's
one
possible,
outlook.
but I still feel like that's quite a cop out, because I have friends of many different races, and not all, my non-black friends are definitely, I have black girlfriends that are definitely more docile and more submissive, and definitely, you know what I'm saying, not really argumentative and stuff like that. And I have non-black friends who are definitely more assertive, and you get what I'm saying, and very more snappy, argumentative and stuff like that. And it's just like, especially like even I just genuinely think that it is a conditioning. I'm come to the conclusion that a partial conclusion that it's conditioning. Basically, they are taught, black men, I feel like a lot of black men are taught to be low tolerant to black women, and because even with like a Latino woman who's called, argumentative and stuff, that's attractive. She's spicy. You know what I'm saying? That's nice to her, versus and the black woman doesn't. It's, she's just loud and black, and you know what I'm saying? It's just frustrating. So it's just like, I don't know. And I sympathize to a certain degree, but just like with anything, when you realize that it's wrong, you have to be aware of it and correct it.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Period. I don't care about what your mother did. I'm not your mom. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do anything to you. And it's just unfair. That's just, with anything, when people are that simple-minded and they say, okay, because this one particular person from this said group,
Right.
wronged me, I'm now going to look at that entire group or gender group a certain way. It's just it's a
Yes.
disservice to yourself.
Okay,
And
but just to play devil's advocate, couldn't I apply that same mindset to dating? Like, oh, your ex was a piece of shit, so now you have to treat me like I'm going to do this.
oh yes, that's the same thing. It's just wrong.
But you just said you don't care what your mom did. You don't care about whatever those circumstances are in which to bring you to the mind state in which you feel like, as a black man, you are abusive to black women. That is kind of the same thing, no?
Okay,
Because
so let me get
people form who they are
from their
and
experiences.
They choose their behavior based off of their experience.
Okay, so are you saying like, okay, because you were wronged by just hear me out. You were wronged by your ex, right? Whatever, they did something to you where they were verbally abusive or they went out and cheated or something. Now you've left that relationship and now you're getting into this new relationship and you're more triggered off of certain things because of what you experienced in your past
You're more
relationship.
triggered, right.
So you're saying that person that you're now with needs to basically burden those issues because you
No,
haven't.
I'm not saying that they need to burden them. I'm saying it happens.
It happens,
Yeah.
but again,
And usually when it happens, if you're the new person and you're dealing with somebody who's dealt with that trauma, you have to be sensitive to
yes,
the trauma
absolutely.
that
You
they've
definitely need to
dealt with.
sympathize for them.
And I'm saying why isn't that the same energy when it's a black man who has dealt with trauma at the hands of a black woman and he's looking at black women a certain way?
I mean, I totally get that. I
Like,
think I did say I
shouldn't there be
sympathize.
still somewhat of a bit of compassion for it, is all I'm saying.
Well, no, I did. And I actually said I sympathize with that. I do sympathize that was an issue. But just like with any other issue, when you know that something is wrong, you correct it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what happened, you know what I'm saying, that to get a certain outcome, you know what I'm saying? Because we can both like agree that if someone steals somebody's purse, it's wrong, right? But what if he needed to steal the purse because he really needed money to eat or he needed to buy his baby some diapers and stuff? We can sympathize why he did it.
Right.
Like, oh, I understand why he did it, but it's still wrong.
Right.
So with that being said, that's what I'm saying. Yes, I get that you had an issue. You had issues with your mom, your sisters, whatever, or you had a bad experience with another woman
it's
and
not
stuff like
right.
that, but it's not right
Got
to
it.
take it out on the next person.
Got it.
No, it's not
also
fair.
with that situation
You have to
too
fix
is
yourself.
if people don't know how to deal with that or that is like subconsciously happening, they don't know what they don't know.
Like they don't have
Right.
the skills.
So
to-
they can't identify that until later on you're telling them like, you keep treating me this way and I'm out. At this point, the relationship is over because I've been doing it for so long
Right.
to you that I don't even know that I'm doing it.
Right.
It's becoming a pattern. It's like natural. So now I'm not just, having actions. Now I'm becoming my actions.
Uh-huh.
So it's like I'm getting so much into the habit of doing it now. Like people say, like, you're not, you can tell somebody something, but your actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
So I can say, I love you, I love you, I love you, but I just can't stop disrespecting you.
Right.
Right.
And yeah, but
That's
see, with that, I mean, just like you said, I hope with that revelation of you realizing like, yo, I'm doing this, and now the kind of relationship is kind of over
Right.
because of what I done, that you need to be responsible enough to say, yo, I need to get me together before I call myself getting into another relationship, because I do,
Accountability,
accountability is everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you being accountable and saying, yo, I have my own issues I need to iron out. I don't want to have the same outcome in my next relationship.
Right.
With this relationship, you're accepting, your part of what you did to
Right.
the demise of this said relationship,
Right.
and now I'm going to go get myself together so I can be better for the next person.
Yeah, 'cause if you
same thing
keep-
with but we can go back to the Jada and Will thing. She admitted that she went with him trying to call herself wanting to feel good, but she realized she can't heal herself with someone else. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? that has to
Do
come
on her
within.
own. Yep,
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
100%. And okay, speaking of, we're gonna move on to our next topic of, being accountable for your actions. If you guys have not heard, there was recently in the news that Meg Thee Stallion was shot.
By Tory Lanez.
supposedly, allegedly by Tory Lanez.
Yes.
Allegedly, because we don't know the full story and extent of the situation, but it has been brought to light. And I was talking to Tia about this the other day, saying that regardless of what Meg Thee Stallion is portraying in her music, the type of hot girl or savage she is in her music, she is still a black woman, and it's still becoming a pattern that black women can be attacked or wronged, and it be okay because she portrays that in her music, that she's this and she's that. At the end of the day, she's still a human being. She's still a black woman in America. And once again, we're making excuses why it's all right to wrong and hurt a black woman.
Yeah.
So, once again, I don't know the extent of the story.
But the memes?
Yeah, the
internet?
Harlem Nights meme was that was classic. So whoever did that, kudos to you. But like I said, we're not we're not trying to make light of the situation. In the sense of a woman was shot by whoever shot her. I don't know. Obviously, the investigation is still going on, and I haven't even heard anything about Tory Lanez at all, in the sense of he was brought in for. I haven't really looked.
All
into
we
the
know is he was arrested,
investigated. I'm pretty sure he was released on bail because they don't have all the full evidence of the situation. And supposedly that night it happened, they said they were hanging with Kylie Jenner.
Yeah, they were at I believe Kylie was throwing a party and everything, and then apparently they left with Meg's friend, and there was the three of them in the car. And I don't know, something happened. Something occurred and she got shot in the foot, and they ended up getting pulled over, and you could see the footage where she's limping out of the car. We didn't know exactly where she had got shot initially, but yeah, she was indeed shot. And it was just it was really disheartening to me, like just seeing all the memes and the things people making fun of it. She calls herself a savage and stuff like that. But let this have been flipped and he had shot Kylie Jenner, and it wouldn't have been totally different situation. Nobody would have been laughing about her getting shot in the foot. It would have been looked at totally different. You know what I'm saying?
It's a bad situation for us as black people, period, because once again, these are two talented musicians. One is an African American woman and one's an African American male. So regardless if he goes,
I think he's Canadian. Yeah, he's Canadian.
Oh, my apologies.
He's black. We all black. We black.
He is a black man when you look at him. So at the end of the day, it doesn't benefit us as people at all, because once again we have a black on black situation where we have a black man hurting a black female. So it doesn't benefit it at all, because she was victimized, and then now he's a suspect because he used violence for whatever situation was. So either way, this storyline is not a good storyline for our people, and it's very unfortunate that it is in the news. But we just want to give you guys a little light towards it. If you got anything else you want to say about the situation?
Really, the only thing about the situation I would like to say is I would like to see a lot more. Just openly from black men, and just if this is supposed to be our situation that we're supposed to handle, I feel like just black people, and especially black men, need to be a lot more vocal about men who commit violence against women. I don't feel like I'm seeing enough of it.
100%. It's becoming like it's a frat party. Same thing we're telling cops and police departments to stand up against their crooked cop friend or their brother next to them, but then we're not going to hold ourselves accountable when there's a situation where your right hand is putting his hands on women, and you just letting that slide. Like, there has to be moral compass with every situation. It can't
right. No one gets exempt from these situations. You know what I'm saying? It just really feels like there's just people, and I don't even know if it's just black people, but just people in general are way too comfortable with violence towards black women, and it's just really, really uncomfortable. Like, very just. It's disturbingly uncomfortable. Like, even down to, I don't know if y'all seen the clip of the young girls. It was two young girls. It was, I think these both were set on the East Coast, where one of them was thrown in a garbage can by a group of black dudes,
boys,
and they basically were throwing stuff at her. Everybody was recording and stuff of her. It was just really heartbreaking. And then to that story though, was so cool. Actually, a few black business owners, like there was like a black hairstylist and a black fashion designer. They basically did like a whole little makeover for her. It was so cute. It was really
good,
nice.
Because that'll help her uplift her spirits from being humiliated
just feeling just so, oh my, I couldn't even fathom what that felt like or how she felt. And then the other video we saw with there was a guy who basically, I guess he was talking to a girl. I don't know exactly what was going on, but he felt the right to hit her with a skateboard in her face.
Yeah, man.
And all his homies was laughing, and it was just like, y'all didn't check y'all dude. Like, to your point, you didn't check your boy.
I usually look at cases where I can defend, because I feel like in some instances as a black man, we become under attack by everyone, including black women at times. But yeah, these instances aren't situations that I can defend at all.
You shouldn't even try.
It's indefensible behavior. And yeah, I just feel like, us as black men need to take more of a responsibility at calling that out and holding ourselves accountable for that behavior. I feel like it's socialized to an extent. I feel like these are like kids, like with the garbage can incident. These are like kids who think this is fun and games.
Well, and that's the biggest thing for me, especially being in my profession, working at a middle school. This is literally, I believe, the first opportunity from 6th to 8th grade where you're really working on your behaviors and how you treat people. So, being sexist, sexualizing, being abusive, verbally abusive, and how men will talk to a woman like you should be greeting a woman with respect, and a woman should be doing vice versa. It's been multiple encounters at my school where I encounter kids talking to one another like pieces of garbage, and this is supposed to be your people. It's supposed to be in your community, and you're talking to women like with no disregard, like you don't have a mother or a grandmother. So it needs to change, and it starts at the house. It starts in the home. So the way we're teaching our kids is very important. We understand that there's definitely been situations. I understand from my own experience. I've been taught how to act. I've been taught how to talk. Did that stop me from going out and going to middle school and acting a complete ass? No, it did not. I definitely knew I knew better.
Right.
And I knew what the consequences would be when I got home, but at the time I did not care. So I believe this is becoming more and more a thing, because also there's so many parents working so hard to provide for their kids that they're not actually even in the home to raise them, because they're working so many jobs, or they're worried about still living their lives. And so then they're being neglected, where kids have to be kids, right? Kids have to take care of kids at a very young age. So it's a lot going on in our community, man. And instead of just pointing it out, instead of just videotaping, put the camera down, do something to make a change in your community, because we all need each other and we all can be better, man. And so before we point the fingers at all these crooked cops and all these white supremacist cops out here killing us, let's actually pick up a shovel, or let's actually support and help in hand in our own community,
and hold accountable our own.
Because we can't be quick to be talking about somebody else when we haven't been doing what we need to do in our own community. So
we can hold on. We can, two things can happen at the same time. Hold on. We can hold their asses accountable, and we can hold ourselves accountable too.
But
Absolutely.
100%, that should definitely be.
But it needs to be happening,
but
though.
we can't be crying wolf about what they're doing out there, and we're just letting the shit slide.
Right.
In our own backyard.
No, yeah, totally.
So yes, that needs to happen first,
What?
and then we can. They're not mutually exclusive. I'm just saying that they both need to be
handled. Definitely,
there's work that needs
to be done on both
more than
ends.
just one front.
There you go.
We're talking about because we're talking about cops. We're getting killed while we're getting pulled over and all these things, but. Shit, we getting killed before we walk out our neighborhood.
Right, possibly.
So at the end of the day, we literally just watched the video with a dude in Detroit that just killed four black people in a restaurant.
Crazy.
So that needs to be what. Why are you so angry? Why do you feel the need to handle your solutions or your problems that way?
Right.
Because obviously somebody's not in this corner talking to him. So we need more mentorship and support out in our community. That's all we're saying, because if we don't do something about it, then we can't expect somebody else to do something about it.
Bingo.
Right. It has to come from our footwork ourselves.
Right, 100%.
We have to,
Right.
we have to foot our own work.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Also, hopefully I just Meg, because bring it back to Meg. Hopefully she,
Right.
you know, she
Oh
can
yes,
recover,
I hope yes.
physically and
Mentally, yeah, and that's
Yeah,
another
man.
thing. Y'all are not. People are just so insensitive. Like, this is a whole ass human being.
Right,
She's a
right.
whole person.
She's somebody's
with
daughter.
feelings. Somebody's daughter. You feel me? Like, you guys have to be way more careful. And I even down to, like, people try to basically make these celebrities like as if they're not human or
Right.
whatever. Like, just
Right.
because they're public figures, it's not fair. They're still human beings. You get what I'm saying? And you should give them that respect and that give them the respect and the privacy and that you would your fellow person that you see on the street. You feel
Right.
me? Straight up.
And I'll once again I'll apologize for my comment earlier in regards to the meme about Harlem Nights. I just really love that movie and the scene, and it was fitting. But this is no time to make a joke about somebody physically being harmed, especially due to gun violence. So I just want to, like I said, send out support and love to Meg Thee Stallion,
Absolutely.
herself
We
and
love
her
you,
family.
Meg. You savage, you. No, but even to the Harlem Nights, hey, Della was coming to that nigga with a whole razor.
She had blades.
If
so
he had,
it's a
you
different
cannot.
situation. Let's hope that wasn't a situation.
Right,
My
bro. It could have
stance
got
might
real.
change.
Right now, that's what I'm saying. Now, if because we don't know.
I don't know what happened.
We don't know any of that,
he
but
was
we
getting his ass
only talking to the
Yeah,
point
we
of
gotta keep
people.
that 100 too.
Yeah, he was getting his
Anyway,
ass whooped. He was getting dealt with. He was so he a scared motherfucker would do some shit. Okay.
Hey, man,
But
entering our last topic of the day, we definitely wanted to end it on a positive note
Man.
in regards to watching that legendary battle yesterday in regards to Snoop versus DMX.
Snoop D-O double G.
Man, that was a classic, man. It's definitely what we needed in these rough times right now, man. Just to be uplifted.
Yes.
And being that those guys been doing it for so long, man. And don't get me wrong, man. We home team over here. It's the West Coast all day.
Yeah.
California, born and raised.
You already know.
So we rocking with Snoop all day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to see one of my favorite East Coast rappers of all time battle and all the trials and tribulations that he done been through in his life, and man, just to still feel his passion and his music. Not only, man, the way he started off the battle, man, with that powerful prayer, man, that was that was very
Bring a nigga to their knees.
It really spoke to who the spirit that DMX is, and I really enjoy his music, man. Not to mention, man, anytime that he raps, "Slippin'," it's one of my all-time favorite songs.
That's crazy. that you say
Period.
that.
Man, it's a very powerful song. If you never heard that song, man, I advise you to, man, I don't know how you haven't heard that song, but if you never heard Slippin' by DMX, man, I advise you to put it on repeat, man, and just let yourself feel that. Zee-Wee, what you think as our music producer, as an engineer, man, that's actually in this game, man, what did you feel about the whole vibe yesterday? I'm not going to ask you who won because that really don't matter to me. Just the whole battle was just a gift to all of us, period. But man, what would you think about that whole little, the concept of verses and just that battle between two giants like that? What'd you think about it?
Well, I am gonna tell you who won, and it was us. It was the fans,
Right.
Because it was just really more of a celebration of where we came from. Like
Yeah.
this was our childhood, placed within 40 songs. It was very special for me because DMX is one of my favorite rappers, especially after Tupac dying. DMX was a big part of filling a certain void when it came to just raw energy and spiritual expression. And I feel you on that "Slippin'," and you're not the only one who said that. I think "Slippin'" is a song that has touched so many spiritually. It's a modern day Negro spiritual, and just to see DMX looking good, looking healthy after all of those
Yes.
situations we've heard about him being one of our favorite just figures in the culture period, and Snoop Dogg being there, being Uncle Snoop, the
Legend,
patriarch,
man.
the cultural patriarch that he is, helping DMX also just be able to celebrate
Right.
each other. I think that was the biggest thing, and obviously the music.
Right.
Can't
Like
get
it's
past
just
that,
this
man.
is music. This is timeless music that's gonna last forever. Like the Doggy Style is probably like my top 2 favorite albums in all of music. Period. Because that was probably my biggest introduction into how music sounds. I was like, I think I was maybe 3, 4 when it came out, and yeah, it was just a joy to watch. It was a joy to be able to celebrate their hits and the amount of classics that they have, being especially from 2 different parts of the country.
Yeah.
I couldn't get enough of it. I was
Man.
I couldn't get enough. They could have went on for another 40 songs if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, big up to Snoop and DMX.
I was vibing hard. I can't lie to y'all, man.
No.
I was shooting ear to ear, bro. I was crip walking.
Like,
bro.
what, was like, what's the next song? What's the next song?
It was really that one, man. But like I said, man, like Snoop, I made a comment on my Instagram stating that I believe Snoop is top 3 rappers of all time, and he's definitely the greatest rapper of the West Coast of all time. And being that there's guys like my favorite rapper like Ice Cube and Tupac and all those guys in there, I'm sorry, from 91 all the way till now, if you check the catalog, you do your research, come back to me, you can talk to me, and make comments on the page in regards to this, and I have no problem going on IG Live, me and Zaire, and we can debate this all day
It's
in
good.
regards to
come with the
Snoop,
smoke, but
because at
just
the end of the
come
day,
ready, though.
We want smoke.
we got
They
our
want
facts and we got the evidence to prove and back what I'm talking about. But just once again, man, I'm just happy to see DMX out, healthy, rapping, and when he played that
in his element, in
Yes.
his
played
natural, in his
that
natural
what
element.
you bitches want from a nigga.
Okay.
That's one of my all-time favorites DMX songs with Cisco for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a different vibe right there, brother. I'm trying to tell you.
It was just jam after jam.
It was.
I mean?
It really was. X said he was going to give it to us, and he did. He did, and he did do that. He gave it. He definitely. He was like, "Where's the hood at?" We were like, "We're right here
Hey,
with
but
you,
we
man.
do-
We are right here with
Hey,
you."
We do need that 50 Cent versus T.I. though.
Yeah, we
Oh
need to get
yeah.
Y'all pulling
Dude,
for
to get
hard,
that soon. We need
and
to get
everybody
that
know
soon.
that know me. I said it, and I ain't backing down from it. Get Rich or Die Trying is top 5 album of all time, rap.
Oh,
So
yeah.
G-Unit.
it's not even a question. Song for song, and when he came out, bruh, it ain't too many people touching 50 Cent. I don't care what nobody say. So he can say one hit wonder, whatever, but that whole album,
Who says that? Who are these people?
from first song
I mean,
to last
there
song.
is
There's someone that
disrespectful
says
banter when
that?
it comes to
That
Good
dude right
grief.
there, dude,
But-
he up there with me with East Coast rappers just off of that album alone. Like nobody touching that album like that, man.
No.
No, that's definitely a classic. Certain things are not going to be able to be argued. Okay, hey, come on, because it's just blasphemy
You would
at this
think,
time.
you would think, but that album don't get enough respect, man.
Bruh, I don't
Get
know.
enough
Yeah,
respect. So
I'm gonna leave it to y'all. Y'all probably, more than me.
nah, but like I said, once again, man, we appreciate y'all sitting in with us, enjoying the podcast. We're just getting started. We definitely, the only way we're gonna improve, our I guess our chemistry on here, that's gonna happen naturally. But the only way we're gonna improve at running our podcast the way we want to, and different topics. If we hear from you guys out there, we need the feedback.
Absolutely.
So please follow the podcast, Much to Do podcast on Instagram. We'll work on getting a Facebook. Need to. We're working on in the future getting some visual for you guys as well. But in the meantime, we'll be connecting a lot with you guys throughout the week on our Instagram page with IG Lives, with questions. So please feel free to just communicate with us, ask us questions. Give us suggestions, give us feedback. Everything is warranted. We appreciate it, and it's all good, man. And also reach out to Ziwi or myself on Instagram in regards to inquiries, meaning that you will be interested in coming on the show possibly.
Right.
We also will be doing community spotlights where we bring up small business owners to talk about their business and what they're doing in the community, so we can affect the social change that we want in our own communities. And then once again, man, we all have our own businesses as well. I have Will to Win Athletics. I would greatly appreciate anyone's support. So follow me at Will to Win _ATH at Instagram. Will to Win is an athletic performance training business where I work with kids through mentorship and physical fitness. So please support the movement and what we got going on. We'll be putting on clinics and camps in the future. We got some big things coming for the community, but right now with the COVID going on, it's very limited. But you can definitely follow me and support me at Will to Win.
Right, and
page, and then you can talk. Zaire got his music going on.
Right, and if you really, really like good music, you really gotta mess with Bustable Beats, because it's really just about good quality music that people can connect to and enjoy and just live life to. So if you really, really mess with the music and if you want to buy a beat, just visit Bustable Beats on Gmail, and let's work.
And real quick, I just want to thank you guys for having me on your show.
Of course.
It was fun, being on the opposite side. I like being in the back, but in the front is kind of cool too.
Right.
But yeah, thank you. And thank you guys, everybody out there listening. We appreciate your support, and we just hope that you guys enjoyed this as much as we do. And yeah, I'll see you next time.
Much to Do About Everything podcast episode 2.
Yeah.
We out.